Welcome to the Add Ideas podcast. Picture this: a vibrant community made up of diverse voices, ideas, and accomplishments. Everyone shines confidently, their contributions celebrated, their successes shared, and belonging strongly reinforced. What invisible or visible walls need dismantling? Like dangerous assumptions or excess issues? Are there empty chairs at the table waiting for voices that haven't been heard or much needed? Who decides who gets a seat and who is left behind and why? What should everyday progress look like to get us there?
I am Bandile Mndebele. Today, I'm going to be talking about building good ideas. Let's break it down. Inclusion. Inclusion is mainly targeted about feelings. How do you feel in this space? How do you feel when you go to work? How do you feel when you have to raise an issue with your manager? Inclusion is built on 7 factors. Number 1, psychological safety. Psychological safety is all about having little to no fear of being yourself, communicating your ideas, needs, or perspective constructively, giving honest feedback, and participating or showing up authentically in the way that you feel most comfortable to be yourself. So how does that look like? There must already be existing trust or accountable leadership that not only embeds this in action, but supports continuous learning. So there is no shaming culture on how people learn or approach their curiosity and development. Leaders encourage you to communicate regularly, not just at certain intervals. People are trusted to work or deliver results based on their strengths and ability and are not micromanaged. The next one is intersectionality. This means that there are no barriers to being at the table. Microaggressions and biases are actively worked on to limit harm or trauma for that matter. Intersectionality is all about allowing different types of diversity and abilities to be prioritized. So that means that your identity is more than just one thing. For example, I am not just black, I am not just agender, I am not just neurodiverse. Everything informs who I am. I cannot separate one part and live it out. Tomorrow, I will always have those diversity factors. Number 3, active listening. So that means listening to understand and not to respond. There is empathy and a strong intention to align your growth priorities towards your desired path. Your needs are clearly understood and your lived experience is not undermined. People or leaders ask you clarifying questions that avoid misunderstanding or misstating what the outcome should be or look like to support you. There is authenticity. Number 4, who you are and what you want to achieve or build towards is seen, understood, celebrated, and elevated. There is no frequent or unnecessary code switching. Number 5, there is positive representation. You see yourself represented throughout all levels of the organization, company, and leadership easily or throughout the event. There are no excuses for why you cannot contribute to power structures, processes, or influence decisions and approaches to engage with leaders. You can access or find a sponsor, mentor, or coach who is culturally competent and aligns with your values, passions, or growth and career objectives. More importantly, the effective decision-making powers and organizational support to create results or drive change don't limit who or what can be done. So what does positive representation also look like? Means that diverse leaders are not just existing as tokens to create beautiful presentations and reports, or for companies to say, oh no, we have one woman as a leader, or we have 2 women and people of color or black people in part of leadership, and they stop there. No. Those diverse leaders are empowered to enforce decisions, are empowered to create and contribute to solutions and drive change that is much necessary to bring about the impact, the results that is needed in the space. Leadership. It means leaders, including managers, are accountable and transparent in their unwavering commitment towards implementing people growth strategies, holistic well-being, and wide representation, meaning that they are continually building trust, reinforcing equity at every step through policies, programs, sponsorships, mentorships, and a whole lot more, and they provide meaningful work or opportunities for you to build the career that best fits you. Number 7, zero tolerance. That means everyone understands and is made aware of zero tolerance for behaviors and discriminatory practices. That means tacit or subtle forms of exclusion that create trauma. There's not any kind of discrimination against your age, your disability, your health, your gender, your race, your sexuality, and a whole lot more other diversity elements. Next, we're going to be breaking down diversity. So diversity answers who you are. Who you are is informed, number 1, by intersectionality. This means every factual element of what makes you you is not shamed or dismissed. No one asks you to stop or edit who you are. No one asks you to stop being black. No one asks you to stop being whoever you are in this space. There is no reason to hide your diversity or to code switch. Code switching means that, number 1, you feel the need to assimilate far more than you are to represent your authentic self. So you don't feel safe. There's no psychological safety for you to be who you want to be. Neurodiversity, right? That's number 2. Your overall neurotype. That means your brain function, how your brain is wired, your sensory processing, cognitive processing, and social interaction styles is supported. Different neurotypes and conditions such as autism, ADHD, dyslexia, bipolar, OCD, and a whole lot more, not seen as an unorthodox, abnormal, or even silenced. Number 3, there is support under diversity. People from different backgrounds find it easier to come in, connect, collaborate, grow, stay in the firm, and have a meaningful career along the way. They're able to build relationships that work, seek opportunities that allow them to go up the ladder. People are encouraged with their contributions and successes. There is support for them throughout the ladder. There is no glass ceiling. There is no any issues and excuses about why people cannot progress up. Number 4, thrive. From acquisition, onboarding to your exit, who you are does not limit your compensation or pay, your opportunities to get promoted, or what you cannot do or go about to you to succeed. You feel valued. The next one we're going to be tackling is equity. The key questions with equity is, how do we finish together? Number 1, we look at access. Who needs better access? Before we begin about access, I have to first start about separating equality and equity, because many of us confuse the two. Equality mainly answers, how does everyone start together? Equity is not about everyone starting together. It focuses more on how do we finish together. There's a big difference. So finishing together means people have to start at different points and allow the need and the access and the opportunities to create a fairness throughout the systems. How does justice really look like across different communities? Are leaders and managers committed to growing their teams and allocating different communities that need to thrive or have an opportunity to do so? Or to even come in, to even start in a place that allows their abilities to grow and to succeed. Now, let's look at accessibility. There are 2 main factors to consider with accessibility. Is how do we target support to allow people to thrive? Number 1, universal design. How your job environment is built and designed or communicated to allow different types or different norms or disabilities and abilities to access and work safely or productively. This allows more equitable outcomes. Number 2, neuro inclusion. That means creating an inclusive environment that recognizes and values the diverse ways that people think and process information, particularly focusing on integrating and supporting individuals who are neurodivergent. How does the environment support our brains and consider important factors? ADHD, dyslexia, autism, bipolar, OCD, social anxiety disorder, and many more. We're going to be tackling now in our last bit sustainability, which is now a very hot topic throughout different types of communities. Whether that you are in investment, whether you are in your career right now, whatever that looks like, sustainability is a growing need also in inclusion. Key to understanding sustainability is about answering one question: how do we build long-term success? By considering ESG factors and impact where everyone feels empowered to contribute. For example, where no one is left behind. Number one, you have to look at representation. Is the environment truly representative? Who is in the margins? Economic. Is it financially inclusive or considerate of different income levels? So you're looking at inequality or pay gaps and inequities. Number three, how are resources allocated and are decisions intergenerational? Impact exists beyond not just the present, but beyond the present. So looking at future considerations and how our decisions impact and influence the next generation that is to come. Number four, looking at, for example, partnerships. Are all decisions developed and implemented in a way that creates, number one, agency, number two, and support advocacy? How are we sponsoring talent or people to rise together? We have just learned the key factors of building ideas. This breakdown is mainly a summary of what or how to go about building good ideas wherever you go, wherever you are. Thank you so much for joining episode 1. Importantly, how does your ideas look like? What do you want to build towards your ideas, your good ideas? Please let us know. We shall build ideas together. Thank you and chat soon.